I started with some faux leather wide ribbon. It measures 24 by 8 inches, and you can get this right from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to start by making sure the end of my leather has a straight cut. I'm going to take my ruler and put it at the 4-inch mark and then 5 inches over. And I'm going to cut at an angle with my rotary cutter. And then I'm going to fold my leather in half and make the same cut on the other end. Now I have just sheets of leather as well. I get them off of Etsy. And I'm going to cut this the same size as the center of my leather sheet. And I'm going to flip it so the leather side is facing down. I'm going to fold my flaps to meet in the middle. And using a chalk marker, I'm just going to mark the top triangle. And then I'm going to take my rotary cutter and my ruler and cut the top triangle off. Now I'm also going to take a second piece of black leather sheet, and I'm just going to cut it the same size as my first piece without cutting the triangle. And that piece is going to just lay flat in the center. I'm just marking so I know exactly where to put my glue. And now the hot glue can go all on the inside here. And you can use fabric glue as well. And then I'm going to take the second piece of leather that I cut the triangle at the top and lay that on top of this piece. Now this one you just want to glue so the bottom wraps around to the back of my gray leather sheet. And I'm just using these small clamps. I get these right from the Dollar Tree. And that's just going to hold that in place until my glue dries. And then I'm just going to use my hot glue on the outside border of my leather. And then I'm going to put some glue on the flaps and fold them in. Again, I'm just using regular hot glue, but there is a fabric glue that you can use. And if you get any drips on areas that you don't want it wiped up pretty easily. And you just want that to all completely dry. Now I had gotten these little silver buttons from my local Dollar Tree. I'm sure they have something like this at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to take my leather hole puncher, put a hole, and then attach the button. Now the back and the front snap together. That's why I'm using a hammer. And now we have an envelope that we can hold things inside. I then took this unfinished piece of wood that I got from Hobby Lobby. It measures 18 by 13 inches, and I got it when it was 40% off. And I'm just going to use my Wise Owl Bone Chalk Synthesis paint, and I'm going to paint the entire unfinished piece of wood. And once I had good coverage, I'm just going to allow that to fully dry. I took a craft dowel that I had, and I'm going to cut it so that it measures the length of the entire piece of wood, and I'm going to paint it using Wise Owl Black. Once everything was dry, I took a tape measure, and I'm going to make a mark on the left and right side, and I want to try to get them as even as I can. And then I'm going to take my drill gun, and I'm not drilling complete holes through the wood, but just going a little bit in so that my craft dowel can sit inside these little holes that I created. I'm going to take a 220 grit sandpaper and just give everything a nice little sanding. This just helps smooth out my paint. And I'm going to take some extra gray leather that I had, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces at about 2 inches long. And I'm going to glue one on each side of the top of my envelope, and you want the leather side facing up. And then I'm going to take my dowel. I'm just going to add some salve on it really quick. And then I'm going to wrap the 2-inch leather piece around the dowel and glue it to the back of my envelope. So now we have the envelope hanging from the dowel. I'm adding some Elmer's wood glue inside the holes, and that's how I'm going to secure the dowel in place. I took some painter's tape and some Craft Wise chalkboard paint that I got right from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just frame out a section on the top here to add the chalkboard paint. Now you can just add it to the entire top, but I wanted to leave a white border around mine. And I'm just using a Gen foam brush to apply that. And I did a couple coats before I removed the painter's tape. I got these little stencils from the Target section, and they're little triangles, and I'm using my black Wise Owl paint and a small foam dabber, and I'm just going to dab this triangle pattern around the entire frame of the board. Now when you're stenciling, you just want a very small amount of paint. And now you could pick any design stencil that you want. I was kind of going for more of a modern look with this. And the stencils I found at Target, they came with a few different in the pack. And the stencils were a smaller size, so it worked nicely around this border. Now the pack did come with a stencil brush, but I really like the foam dabbers. Now I allowed that to dry, and I had these hooks with the screw on the end, and I'm going to screw them onto the bottom of my board here. So I started with one in the center, and then I put one on the right and the left. I'm just going to nail in my hanger. It's just a sawtooth hanger. And you can do 2 if you prefer that over just one in the center. I'm going to take my sandpaper and just give it a nice sanding. And as a top coat, I'm going to use my Wise Owl Furniture Salve. I'm just going to brush it on, and then I have a cotton sock that I just wipe any extra off. And to finish this off, I had some small wooden letters. I painted them gray, and I'm going to put "To Do" at the top. And now you can add anything like notes, memos, really whatever you choose. And I'm just going to take my hot glue gun, once I had that positioned in the center, and I'm just going to attach the letters to the board, right above the chalkboard paint. Now you can also use the Elmer's wood glue. And there we go. Now we have this cute memo board, and you can take a chalk marker and write your little notes, and you can hang some mail in the envelope there. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Paint products can be found on our webpage at chalkitupfancy.com. And don't forget, you can check out other tutorials over on our webpage as well. Have a great day.